أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد، يحيي ويميت وهو حي لا يموت وهو على كل شيء قدير وإليه المصير. ونصلي ونسلم على خير الأمة المتقين وحبيب رب العالمين، النور المبين والهادي إلى صراط الله تعالى المستقيم، سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد بن عبد الله بن عبد المطلب. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم، وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. أما بعد. In the previous lecture we were talking about lectures. We were talking about the magic, black magic, and the influence of that, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has highlighted in the Quran through the story of the Sayyidina Musa with the Pharaoh, and it is just to seal or cover this story to put an end for the understanding what is the butter or the essence of the story of the magic, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has highlighted that in the Quran, and why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has confronted this black magic by Sayyidina Musa. And as everyone knows around here, that Sayyidina Musa represent the Sharia, very regimented system of the Sharia by the Mosaic law, Sharia al-Musawiyah. And the Sharia of Sayyidina Musa is do this, not to do this one. This is halal, this is haram. And he is trimming all the and regimenting all the physical actions of Bani Israel as an outcome for the Sharia. And that was the only way, I'm going to repeat this one, that was the only way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stated in the Quran, that the only way to combat the black magic in any form, as we discussed, the black magic has many forms in the Quran, has been mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has mentioned about the sihr, and he said that those who are going to the black magician or the clergy guys and stuff like these ones, he من أتى عرافا أو كاهنا فقد كفر بما أنزل على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Anyone will go and visit one of these guys who the black magician or the clergy guys and stuff like this, he is actually committing, he or she, mostly actually is she, like 90% of people visiting this black magician are women. He is committing kufr. And there is many hadiths about that, but this is not the aim of talk tonight. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has highlighted that in the Quran. It has the only way to combat the black magic in any form, as we discussed. There's 4 or 5 forms of the black magic, and recently the black magic or the magic in general is being used is the technology. Meaning, if you go and have your mobile in your hand, and you can open your mobile, and in that mobile, if you are a student, you can have your lectures, your exams, and even your results in your mobile, everything in your mobile. If you'd like to have news, it is in your mobile. If you'd like to send documents, it's in your mobile. If you have to check your bank account or any banking activities, you can do it in your mobile. Anything you can imagine, you can do it in your mobile. You can call, you can receive and send, you can messages. And instead of used long days ago, I was a member in the post transmitters, like you sending a letter for like a group of people, right? Like we have a group here in WhatsApp or this or Facebook. Used long time ago, we have this group of people around the world, and he keeps sending us to each other letters. I write a letter by handwriting in English or sometimes in Arabic and send it, and he send or she send or whatever. I used to have letters, big bunch of letters from everywhere in the world. I remember in late 70s, I had a friend from Australia, his name is Ulrich. And after 2-3 years of transmitting posts and messages through the post, he is asking me to convert to Christianity and is trying to convince me that the Islam is nonsense and doesn't make any sense. The real religion is Jesus. Just sacrifice yourself for Jesus, put your Jesus in your heart, and this and all this business. It's not the time to talk about this experience. But anyway, currently, that magic, which is caused by that technology, because the technology is not only the mobile. When I said the new magic is the technology, I am giving you an example is your mobile. Your mobile has everything you can imagine, all the activities you can imagine you can do, it is there in your mobile. You can save data, documents, you can do everything with this one. You know better than me, the young generation knows much better than me, right? But the mobile you have in your hand, it is just part of this technology, which is directly in connection with you. But there is other technologies. Scientists, they are manufacturing viruses. They are manufacturing disease. They are manufacturing, playing with the genetically modified food. They are playing with your food, playing with your water, all through the technology, the chemistry and biology and physics and all of that stuff. They are playing with the technology, with everything, which is, what is black magic? It aims to harm you. What is the whole aim of all this magic around us? Is to deviate you from the straight path. And that is what we are going to talk about tonight, inshallah, in Surat Al-Kahf. So, the mean and the only mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stated in the Quran through the verses of the Quran, spread in Surah Taha, in Surah Al-Qasas, in Surah Al-Baqarah, everywhere, about the story of Sayyidina Musa, is the Sharia. Stick to the Sharia. And we have spoken about the delusion, which is, this is part of the black magic has been used those days by the magician of the Pharaoh to create that delusion or illusion, which is not something doesn't have any basis of any truth, just something doesn't have any truth in it, to deviate you from having the truth. Like Pharaoh is not a god. He's just another man. He's going to the toilet like any other one of his people. If he's going to the toilet, sorry for the language, he's doing a holy shit, it's the same. He's another man, just another man. Right? So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have sent Sayyidina Musa to overcome and beat all this black magic, all these delusions and illusions by sticking to the Sharia. Do not to do. If'al wa la taf'al. And this is the key. Allah has given us in the Quran how we should combat this big and high wave of campaign of the black magic through the technology, which is the new form of black magic, different from what they have used to do thousands of years ago. So, in a nutshell, to move to the next topic, in a nutshell, I've just wanted to close this point clearly, to have the lesson learned from why we were talking for many lectures about the black magic and the influence of black magic on the path. Very, very basic and fundamental issue happened from the creation, since creation of Adam alayhi salam, is لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I am going to deviate them from your straight path by creating different kind of illusions and delusions. And mostly using the black magic. And as we discussed in previous lecture, the black magic using your imagination. And imagination, it has to be based on facts. You can imagine, as we discussed, a Mercedes Benz, you can discuss a sandwich, you can imagine anything has a basis of truth. But if you try to imagine something beyond the capability of the mind, this is what we call illusion, delusion. And this is the trick of the black magic used to play on that point. Very point. And to move to the next, what is the relationship, Ya Ihsan, between Surat Kahf and Dajjal? There's many hadiths. I came across about 7-8 hadiths talking about, in different narrations, about the relationship between Surat Al-Kahf and Dajjal. I have came across about 2-3 hadiths of reading the first 10 verses of Surat Al-Kahf that will protect you from the fitna of the Dajjal. And another 2 hadiths or so talking about the last 10 verses of the Dajjal. And there is another hadith sahih talking that reading the Surah Al-Kahf at the time of the day of Jum'ah, that will protect you from the fitna of the Dajjal. And all the hadith is talking about what? Fitna. Talking about Surah Al-Kahf, I will try to put it in, explain the whole surah in a nutshell. What is this surah talking about? Surah Al-Kahf is basically going through 4 or 5 stories. The story of the people of the cave, the story of the 2 guys, the one who has 2 paradises and he didn't want to give up this one. He said, I done it, it's mine. And the story of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam with the Al-Abd al-Salih, Sayyidina Al-Khadr alayhi salam. And the story of Dhul Qarnayn. Where is Dhul Qarnayn today? The story of Dhul Qarnayn and Gog and Magog. Right? And 5th story, which is touching the story of Adam and the Shaytan and prostrating with the Shaytan and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's the only surah, is the only position in the Quran when he were talking about Iblis that he said كان من الجن ففسق عن أمر ربه. Is the only position in the Quran highlighting that Iblis is from the jinn. And if you remember the previous lectures, we were talking about part of the black magic. Some of the black magic they used to do is using the jinn. And the jinn, they live in the imagination world. And we have spoken about that before. So these 5 stories are covering 4 different kind of fitna. Fitan. If you don't understand what is the word fitna means, raise your finger. I will repeat what I have said before. Do you understand what is fitna means? Do you? I will quickly go through it. The word fitna is very much concerned about the gold, but the gold in the ore form, like in the ore. Ore means it just has a lot of impurities in there. So normally, if you are mining the gold ore, you will go through these caves or digging and hammering and crushing this ore. Good. So hammering and crushing, this is you putting the gold or the ore under stress, hammering and crushing and everything. Then we'll go for the next step. Sieve analysis. The small dust and fine dust will go, which is not gold. Mostly are silicon, which is the dust of silicon and calcium and other stuff. And the gold itself would be in a coarse form, like fine particles and coarse stuff. And after that sieve analysis, you will put it in the oven to melt all this ore down. You put it as just you are subjecting the gold to, after all these stresses, you will put it in a different kind of stress, which is heat, until you melt all the ore and put it in forms like molds. After that one, you will put it under different kind of what we call it in metallurgy is annealing. Annealing, you just like you melt it down. It is in the say 800-900 degrees Celsius, and you put it in an oven. You keep moving from one oven to another, like this is 600 degrees, then another 300 degrees until it is just cooled down. Then all what will happen through this kind of annealing, all the scrap or slacks and this stuff will go on the outer surface of that mold or that form. Then you have to go and you hammer and remove all these scales around, which is all impurities, and you have to subject it to like emery paper, just a fine polish. All these are hard work is happening on the gold until you get outside all this process at 24 karat gold. All this process called fitna, fitnat al-dahab, the fitna of the gold. So the word fitna is very much specified for purifying the gold from ore with a lot of impurities until it comes this one. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is treating us through fitan, fitna after fitna after fitna, to purify us exactly the same way of the gold. You will go through the fitna of poverty, fitna of illnesses, fitna of this and that, all kind of fitna. So you will be subjected to hammering, to screen analysis, to heat, to another hammering, to emery paper scratching, polishing and this stuff until you became pure. Sometimes you use the word fitna and sometimes another word called al-bala. It's the same. Fitna, it is the total process you've been subjected to through your life. One fitna or your fitna is subjected through different kind of bala. Bala means examination, test and calamities and. So Surat al-Kahf is talking about 4 different kind of fitna, which is cover all kind of fitnas you go through all your life. And all these fitnas, 4 different kind of fitnas we are about to talk about tonight, inshallah, we will use one of the fitnas is to explain. These 4 fitnas, ya Hajjah, this is exactly the same salient features of the Dajjal fitnas. Same 4. First story, which is the story of the people of the cave, where they slept inside the cave for 300 something years. Solar system 300, lunar system 309. You choose. Right? So that fitna is talking about the fitna of the relationship between you and Allah. The scholars said fitna al-deen, the deen fitna, the religious fitna, which is, I don't like to call it that way, which is, it doesn't give full dimension of this fitna. What does it mean? They're talking about this. I will speak about this, the people of the cave in a bit of details. They escaped, the whole people around, they were mushrikeen and kuffar, and they are about to torture them. They just flee away in the middle of the desert. They have one of these mountain. They found a cave. They get into the cave, escaping the whole people of this village or this city. And they stayed there in a bit of cocoon, seclusion. There is no relationship between them and the people outside. No one knows actually they are there. Right? And they stay there. They have some food with them until they manage that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after a day or two, He put them in long sleep. This is in a nutshell, but it has more details than that one. More meanings than that subtle or superficial meaning most of the people talking around or about. The second story, which is explaining the fitna of the wealth, the mal, fitna of the money. Someone has a big 2 gardens producing everything, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving him, there is rivers running underneath the gardens, and he has fruits and everything is beautiful. So they have been going through this fitna of the wealth, money, wealth in general. Fitna sahib al-jannatayn, the man who has these 2 jannas, 2 paradises, 2 small gardens. And another fitna, which is the fitna of knowledge, fitnatul ilm, where the story in a nutshell, that Allah, the people of Bani Israel asked Sayyidina Musa, who is the most knowledgeable one on earth? He said, it's me, Ana. And he didn't say, Allah Ta'ala A'lam, Allah knows better. But let me ask Allah, who is the best, the most knowledgeable. That is the way. But he thought that he is the most knowledgeable one. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala said, no, Ya Musa. Yes, you are in a higher status, but there is someone is lower than you, but he has more knowledge than you, more wisdom than you. And this is the humbleness. He said, Ya Rabbi, I'd like to know this kind of knowledge he has. I'd like to be a easy student. He said, then you go, and the story goes on. So this fitna of knowledge, fitnat al-ilm, which I don't call it as most of the scholars say it, fitnat al-ilm. It has a different inclination and meanings from what is written in the books. We will come with every story in so deep details. And the third or the fourth fitna, which is fitna to sultan, the fitna of majesty and power of Dhul Qarnayn, the one who used to travel from east to west, from north to south. He has so powerful kingdom, so powerful army, and how he has used this power. He never been a tyrant guy. And this is explaining when you have such fitna, how you're going to use these powers Allah has given you. Are you going to establish the kingdom of Allah on earth, helping poor guys, helping people, supporting the weak ones, combating the strong ones, fighting this? What are you going to do with these powers I'm giving you, which is mostly physical powers plus knowledge? When he went there in that area of Gog and Magog, they have no idea how to defend themselves. He said, I need iron bars, I need copper bars, I need to have higher this and that. And he created a big factory to build that dam or wall. So these different kind of 4 different fitnas. The fitna of, call it now temporarily religion fitna, or the fitnat ad-din, the wealth, the knowledge, and the power, or the sultan, the kingdom. All of this is encompassed or contained in the fitna of the Dajjal. هات لي المصحف. So the fitna of the Dajjal, the main aim of the fitna of the Dajjal is to deviate you away from Allah. And this is what is currently happening. Not currently, actually for the last few hundred years. Allah. But there is something you need to understand. Yes, the whole surah is covering the 4 different kind of fitnas. But why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to ask this, Ya Walid. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the title of this surah Al-Kahf? And Al-Kahf is just one story out of 5 different stories in the surah. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say the title of this surah is Dhul Qarnayn or Surat Al-Khadr? Right? Which is valid, it can be. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen the name of the cave, the surah of the cave. But why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who are the ones who plays the role inside the story of the cave? Is the cave himself or the people lived in the cave? The people lived in the cave, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He didn't mention the title. He said the surah of the people of the cave, Surat Ahl al-Kahf. No. He is talking about the Surah Al-Kahf. The surah is the name, is the cave. Which is most important, ya Sheikh, from your idea, from your rational way of thinking? Is the most important is the cave itself or those who lived inside the cave? Which is most important in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Normal. Should be Allah should be giving the title or higher importance for the people living in the cave. But He didn't choose that one. He chose that the title of the surah to be Al-Kahf, Surat Al-Kahf, the surah of the cave itself. That has to mean something beyond just the big hole inside the mountain. Now it started to click, to make sense to you. Allah is aiming for higher spiritual aim out of that story. And that name of this surah, Surat Al-Kahf, it represents everything will happen later in the surah. So what is cave? Naturally speaking or physically speaking, a cave is a big hole, can contain big family, like a house inside a mountain. What the mountain represents on earth? The mountain represents like big nail on earth. The distributions on mountains on earth, that what gives the balance the whole globe of earth. They called Ar-Rawasi. Do you know where in the ports, seaports, when you put your boat or ship, what it called? Al-Marsa. Al-Marsa means where you have your ship, you put this, the anchor there, down there, so your ship will never move. It's just stable. That Marsa means stability of your ship. So the mountain on earth represents stability to the earth. Balance. Because the earth is revolving around its axis. What gives the speed, constant speed of revolving around the axis, and everything is constant, is the mountains. So the mountain itself representing stability. No agitation, no movement, firm and stable. And having a house inside that firm structure called a mountain, that gives what? Gives peace, tranquility, and safety. What is the most stable situation you are in while you are having a problem? When you have a problem, you get agitated, you get weak, you get trembling. So, what is the safest way to get out of this stress, trembling and fears and stress and all of that one? You need to be stabilized. Normally what you do, you run to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا حزبه أمر فزع إلى الصلاة. If something, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if something really stressful comes to him, immediately run to have salah. Means connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what makes you feel safe, rested, and firm, not to be agitated. You actually fleeing and escaping the agitation and fear and stress by connecting with Allah. And where is that part in you which is concerning Allah. Allah doesn't concern about your physical shape. You are tall, you are short, you are strong, you are weak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Nothing will benefit you at that day, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have said about the day of judgment, يَوْمَ الْفَزَعِ الْأَكْبَرِ. It is the most scary day. That day. We have scary events here happening in this life, but the most scary day is that the day of judgment. And nothing will benefit you except if you come to Allah with a sound heart. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Nothing will benefit you at that day. No wealth, no family, no sons, nothing will benefit you except if you come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a sound heart, strong heart. This heart used to be filled with Allah and the light of Allah in this dunya. This is where that will benefit you there. Everyone is scaring to death, but there is no death. And you feel tranquil and secure. You don't care about these guys. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you that secure and safe heart where you not have this agitation at that day. Your heart is your cave. I will try as much as I can to gather all symbolic meanings in the story of Surat Al-Kahf. First, Allah is talking that people get confused. Are they three? They are 3 or 5 or 7. And when He said they are 3 and the 4th one is their dog, or they are 5 and the 6th one is their dog, or they are 7 and the 8th one is the dog. And has been confirmed by the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are 7. Symbolically speaking, the cave is the heart. What's inside the heart are the 7 layers, so there are 7 inside. And what does the dog represent? The dog represented the nafs. The question is, Ya Sheikh, and the Sheikh, did the dog was within inside the cave or was outside the cave? The dog was outside the cave. So inside the cave, the nafs has no existence inside the cave. Inside the heart, nafs has nothing to do with the heart there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about these people are escaped to the cave. And He said, فَضَرَبْنَا عَلَىٰ آذَانِهِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blocked their ears not to listen to anything. The stories has been mentioned in the interpretations of the Quran that these 7 people escaped from the torment, and the mushrikeen kuffar of this village escaping. They have this satisfaction with Allah. They have this belief, La ilaha illallah. And these people are going to give them fitna, so to take them out of their religion by torturing and doing this and that to them. So they are escaping to the cave or escaping out of the village to be hidden inside a cave. So they cut their relationship between them and the people are causing the fitna. So they said they fear the people. which is not true. They fear that if they stay any longer with them, they will be influenced or being impacted by them, so they lose their purity and the iman. So actually they are fleeing with the golden hearts, the iman, not to be impuritized with these people having shirk or kufr. So their fear not about these people torturing them or giving them hard time, their fear about the iman in their heart. Are they fearing that they are going to lose the connection with Allah, which is the most important thing, the most valuable thing you have in this life is your connection with Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the source of all problems since Adam until the day of judgment. Because the Shaytan said, I will never allow them to have it easy for them. I will stay in their straight path. I will try to deviate every son of Adam till the day of judgment. And you look around you, he succeeded. Out of 8 billions, at least 7 of 8 billions are completely astray, including some Muslims. Say 50% of the Muslims, this is very optimistic. Very optimistic. So, the golden tie, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has detailed that in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I didn't create ins and jinn except to worship me, Allah Himself. So, your main aim, your main goal in this life is to continuously have that relationship with Allah, worshipping Allah, non-stop. Because this is the main reason, or actually this is the only reason why Allah has created you and put you earth, and He said, I will make you my Khalifa, my viceroy, my vicegerent. You are my representative. So to be really my representative, you should have an alive connection with me all the time, 24/7, 60 minutes, 60 seconds, and 1 million femtos or 1 billion femtoseconds, non-stop. So what Shaitan has done, he knows that this is the main aim of your creation. He said, لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. I will deviate everyone away from that. I will never allow this connection, a live connection between them and you. I will never make it works. I will deviate every one of them. Since the people of the cave, their aim is to escape, to protect this connection with Allah, not to flee away from their torment. Otherwise, if these people in this village has been killed, there is no one will say La ilaha illallah. There were only 7 people on the village or on this city saying La ilaha illallah, and these 7 are protecting this connection to be continued on earth. So they flee to the cave, which is representing safe haven, representing security and safety, to keep protecting this relationship or the alive connection or tie between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If this tie or this connection is being lost because there's these mushrikeen and kuffar outside there in this village, the connection between this village and Allah will be cut completely. So their concern and their aim is to keep this connection with Allah on, to continue the job of human on earth, إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, to continuously worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Worshipping in a sense of continuous connecting and tying with Allah non-stop. There is no dips, there is no damping, non-stop connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The story of the people of the cave is not going to end tonight. I'm just giving you hints, but we will go in details inshallah for the next lecture. How to perform such a protection for this connection, ya Sheikh? Allah is helping you. You have the first move when you escape and abandon these people, abandon the dunya. Run away from this dunya, run away from any connection, not to be impured by them. Run away, keep your purity and connection, run away from them. This is your job. Then when you go to the cave, Allah will add His aid and help to you. Then He block your ears not to listen, because the ears is even, assume we are in an area there where you say, okay, I will block myself with everything. I close my eye, I'd have a distance between me and you guys, so I don't have touch and I don't smell anything. But the only thing is always open is your ear. Even if you are in a deep sleep, all what I need to do is to call you. Aqib. Yeah. Abdurrahman. Yeah. What I have used, I use your ear. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I will protect you. You have escaped with the valuable connection to keep protecting your tie and connection with me, which is the golden existence. Why you are here? Then I'll help you. So I will block anything comes to you. So you won't be able to hear. If you blocked your ear, that means there is no way you lost the connection with the outer side or the outside world. There is no connections. So you have the initiative to run away from them, and Allah is helping you to cut this connection between you and them. Not only that, Ya Sheikh, your five senses, even if you are asleep, partially you can't hear. I have to aim at you nearby your ear and call you. Wake up. Otherwise, if there is no big noise around you, you will not wake up. So all your five senses are off. You won't see. You won't sense. You won't smell. If they are cooking around, you won't smell. If they put some perfume around, you won't smell. You are in a deep sleep. Right? He's smiling because even if I'm asleep, I will smell the cooking. I'll wake up. I have a problem with that. I have a very sensitive nose. So when you are in a sleep mood, what? This is what we call it the little death, al-maut al-asghar. You are completely disconnected from this life. The only thing is working, you have breathe, inhale, breathe in and out. Inhale, exhale. Right? To keep your system, internal system running, having that oxygen comes to you. If we cut this oxygen, you will die. This is the only connection between you and the external world. Just a thread of life. So when you are in deep sleep, you lose connection with this life. Are you eating while you are asleep? Never. Did you have ever come across someone while he's asleep is eating? It doesn't. Did you come across someone smoking or talking while he's sleeping, or listening to a lecture or explaining a lecture like he's the lecturer himself? Never. So you completely, during the sleep, you disconnected with this life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the sleep is giving you the example to passivate your five senses. But you are working in a different realm. Normally you have visions and dreams. When you have visions and dreams, you're visiting countries, like you are sleeping here in Sydney, and you dream, or you have a vision that you are in the United States, or you are in India, or in Fiji, and that needs hours by planes to travel. You do this one in a few seconds. You go and meet people, and you see colors, and you smell beautiful smell, and you touch and shake hands and hug and run and panting and sweating. When you wake up, you find yourself, you are sweating and panting too. But physically, you never done that. So it's a completely different realm. If you are in the realm where we are always in the salah and the dhikr and stuff like that, when you sleep, the realm you're going to is different from the one who made mistakes and sins and with the shayateen. You will be with the spiritual world, angelic world, and higher realms. And it has different laws. As we have spoken about the world of the meaning and the world of examples, alam al-mithal and the alam al-mulk wal-malakut. We have spoken about that before. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put the people of the cave into deep sleep to disconnect them from the world completely. They are not even bothered by having food or trying to search about their rizq or this or that. Because they are living during the sleep in a completely different realm. They don't need to bother themselves to feed this physical body, this suit. They have another or a higher realm. They have to be bothered with something else, completely something else. When you be completely disconnected from the five senses, which is connecting you with the physical world, alam al-mulk, you've been completely released from alam al-mulk to alam al-malakut, and even higher than alam al-malakut. So Allah has kept them for more than 300 years. Solar system, 300 years. Living that era. Not living in alam al-mulk, in this world. Completely disconnected. Yes, their bodies are alive. Still flesh, still hot. Still the blood circulation, everything is running. At the time when they wake up after 300 years, they found themselves have big hair, everything, and big nails and everything. They realized they were in a complete deep sleep for years, but they don't know how much. And some interpretations, they said they didn't have that change. When they wake up, they found themselves as normal as they slept. But they didn't notice any change. And I agree with the second interpretation. The first interpretation came from the Israelites because they think physically. If they slept 300 years, there is no barber, there is no beauty shop to cut their nails. Definitely, physically speaking, yes, they will have 1 meter or 2 meters nails, and this will be so bloody ugly. But this is not happening. Allah kept them the same shape, same way as they slept, and they wake up. If they wake up, have all this influence of time on them, underline the time, where the time. If they have this influence of the time on them, the story will be completely different inclination, different meanings. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlighting this in the Quran, they didn't have that physical changes. What does it mean, ya Sheikh? That means when you live with Allah, when you are concerned only about Allah, when nothing in your heart except Allah, when you live with Allah, when you are with Allah all the time, you don't bother yourself about the physical world around you, and Allah has helped you to live in that era, you lose the influence of time. Time will stop for you. And the time, ya Sheikha, ya Hajj, no Sheikhs here. Sheikhs are men only. If you like it or don't like it, it's up to you. I'm not going to make you happy against the Sharia. If you lose that concept of time, and that the concept of time itself, it is only for alam al-mulk, it is only for this life. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has explained that when you go to the Jannah, there is no day and night. Day and night business is not there. And he has explained that in another hadiths. Do you remember during the springtime at like 10 o'clock in the morning, where it is sunny and light, nice light there, and nice breeze, the temperature is 20 or something, right? There is no humidity. This is exactly similarly the time, and this is constant there. It's about time. Inshallah, I will continue the hidden meanings of Surat Al-Kahf, explaining also why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen the name of Al-Kahf more, inshallah, in the next time. And I wish that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep me and you alive to continue this one. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك من كل ذنب ونتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو حي لا يموت وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم، وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.